A very good morning, dear children. Today we will continue with chapter 6, Composition of Matter. In the last class, we saw how matter is classified based on state of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas, and based on type of matter, that is elements, compounds and mixtures. So today we will learn more about elements, compounds and mixtures. We will start first with elements. Elements are classified into three: metals, non-metals and metalloids. The characteristics of these we have already learned in the last class. Metals, what are the characteristics of metals? Metals, they have shine, that is they are lustrous or they have luster. Malleability means they can be beaten up to form sheets. Ductility means they can be put into wires or you can convert them into wires. We know the good conductors of heat and electricity. That means if I am having a metal and I try to pass heat or pass electricity, the heat and electricity will be passed from one place to another. That is why you say they are good conductors of heat and electricity. And sonorous means they can make sound. So these are the characteristics of metals. What are the characteristics of non-metals? It's the opposite of this. They have no shine, that is why it's written as no luster. They are not malleable, means they cannot be beaten up into sheets. They are not ductile, you cannot put it up into wires. They are bad conductors of heat and electricity, and they are non-sonorous, means they cannot make sound. So this is a characteristic of metals and non-metals. And what are metalloids? Metalloids are those which have the properties of both metal and non-metal. Like for example, graphite. Graphite is a non-metal. Okay, but still, even after being a non-metal, it shows the property of being a good conductor of electricity. Okay, so metalloid is, it has the property of metals also, it has the property of non-metals also. Okay, so this is how metals are being classified. Compounds. Compounds can be divided into three: organic compounds, inorganic compounds and complex compounds. Organic compounds are also called as carbon compounds. Why? Because the major component in them is carbon. Okay, and when you're heating it, at that time it leaves a black residue which is carbon. What are inorganic compounds? Inorganic compounds are those which lack carbon. Okay, and they will decompose or they will break down only after strong heating. Okay, so that is inorganic compound. And complex compounds, they are those which have complex structures or complicated structures they have. These are those compounds which will have many atoms in them, and they will have metal as the central atom. As you can see here, iron is the central atom. So you are going to have metal as in the central position and you will have atoms around it. Compounds normally are formed when there are chemical bonds that are holding these atoms together. Okay, there is bonding between these atoms which are forming these molecules. So compounds can be divided into organic, inorganic and complex. Coming to mixtures. Mixtures are divided into two: homogeneous and heterogeneous. If you look at, there are two pictures in the slide. Homogeneous, if you look at it, there are two types of particles in this. Even though there are two types of particles, they are evenly distributed or they are uniform. Okay, if you're looking at heterogeneous, the two particles, they are forming almost like two different layers in it or two different phases in it. That is why it's called as heterogeneous. Hetero means different, homo means same. So homogeneous means it forms one single phase or the same layer. One layer is formed. Heterogeneous is where two different layers are formed or two or more different layers are formed. That is why heterogeneous. Okay. Examples of homogeneous is solution. If you take water and in that if you add salt and you mix it up together, we know that salt will get dissolved in it. So this is called as a solution, in which it has two components. One is the solvent and the second is a solute. So here the solvent is water and solute is salt. Anything which is in larger proportion or which is in high amount is the solvent, and anything which is in smaller proportion or smaller amount is the solute. So here salt becomes the solute because it's in smaller proportion, and water becomes the solvent because it's in larger proportion. Why do you call it a solution? Is because the solute has completely dissolved in the liquid. The salt has got completely dissolved, that is why this becomes a solution. Now if you try to pass light through this solution, you will never be able to see the path of light in the liquid. Why you are not able to see the path? Because the particle size or the particles are completely dissolved and the size of the particle is very less. Because the size of the particle is less and they are completely dissolved, they are not able to scatter the light or they are not able to deflect the light. That is why when light is passed through the solution, you will not be able to see the path of the light in the solution. Okay? In solution also you have different types. If I have the solvent and the solute, both liquid, like if I am taking water and vinegar and I mix them up together, I am mixing two liquids together. Such a solution is called liquid in liquid. That is, both solute and solvent is liquid. Okay. There are alloys. Alloys means when I'm taking two different metals and I'm combining them together, like steel or stainless steel or brass or bronze. All this is where you're taking two different components and you're mixing them together. Here you're taking two solids. That is why such a substance becomes solid in solid. Air. Air is where many gases are being mixed together in the entire atmosphere. So this becomes an example of gas in gas. Many gases being mixed together becomes gas in gas. Okay, and you even have cold drinks or carbonated drinks are there. So this is where you have gas in liquid. Okay, so these are all examples of solution. Depending upon what you are mixing with what, or what is a solute and what is a solvent, they can be liquid in liquid, solid in solid, gas in gas, or solid in liquid or gas in liquid. Okay, so we finished with homogeneous solution. I gave you the examples of solution. Now we're going to go to understanding what are heterogeneous mixtures, that is suspension and colloid. So we'll first start with suspension. Suspension is where the particles which you're mixing in the liquid can be easily seen, that is, it is not getting dissolved. Okay, any solution you take, if I'm taking sawdust and I'm mixing it in water, it is not going to dissolve in water. I can see it. Or if I'm taking sand and I mix it up in water, sand is not going to dissolve in water. And that is why you will be able to see sand in water. You can see the particles in the water. Okay. And if you try to strain it, you can separate the sand from water. Okay. Similarly, if I'm taking oil and I put it in water, that also becomes a suspension because it's not dissolving in water. Okay, suspension is anything where whatever you are mixing can be separated from the entire solvent. Okay, so suspension is where the particles do not dissolve in the water and if you mix it, they keep moving around. You can see them moving around. They do not dissolve. Now if I pass light through this solution where I've mixed sand and water, I will be able to see the path of light. I can see light passing through the liquid. Why? Because these particles in the liquid, they will scatter the light or they will deflect the light. So you'll be able to see the path of light in it. Colloid. The example of colloid is milk. Colloid is something where the particles, they do not dissolve, but you cannot see the particles also. If I take the solution of salt water and if I take the solution of milk in two different beakers, it is obvious to get confused between solution and colloid. Solution is where the particles are getting dissolved. Colloid is where the particle is not getting dissolved. Okay? In suspension, we were able to see the particles. In colloid, we are not able to see the particles because the particle size is very, very, very less. So how is colloid different from solution? In solution, the particles are dissolving. In colloid, the particles are not dissolving. What is the difference between suspension and colloid? In suspension, we can see the particles. In colloid, you cannot see the particles. Okay, so milk is an example of colloid. Here, the particles do not dissolve, but they are evenly distributed in the entire mixture. There are examples like fog. Fog is where you have liquid in the atmosphere or you have liquid in gas. Smoke. Smoke is also colloid where you have solid in gas. Okay. So the difference between all three. Solution, when you're passing the beam of light, you cannot see the path of light. If you look at the jar, in the jar you cannot see any movement of the light. That is solution. Okay. Why you cannot see the movement of the light? Because the particle size is very, very, very less and they cannot deflect or they cannot scatter the light. Okay, that is a solution. What is a colloid? If you look at the jars of solution and colloid, they are exactly the same. What did I tell you the difference between colloid and solution? Colloid, you cannot see the particles, but the particles have not dissolved. So when you are passing the beam of light through the colloid, what is going to happen? You can see the path of light. Why are you seeing the path of light? Because the particles have not dissolved. There are particles moving around in them. You are not able to see it. Why? Because the particle size is very less or they are very small particles. Okay, so the particles in the colloid, they scatter the light and that is why you will be able to see the path of light inside that. And suspension, we obviously know that there are particles in it, so they will scatter the light. It's clearly visible. The particles are clearly visible to you. Okay, so three things: solution, colloid and suspension. Solution is where particles have dissolved. Colloid is where particles have not dissolved and you cannot see them. Suspension is where the particles have not dissolved but you can see them. So that is the difference between solution, colloid and suspension. To understand the difference between each one, you can pass a beam of light through it. Okay, solution and colloid. Solution, you have no beam of light, you cannot see the beam of light. Colloid, you can see the beam of light but not the particle. Suspension, you can see the particles also, you can see the beam of light also. Okay, I hope this is clear. Thank you.